Have you ever seen a bird that looks like a mix between a vulture and a parrot, but acts like a tiny dinosaur? Meet the ground hornbill, a massive carnivorous bird that spends most of its life walking instead of flying. Unlike other hornbills, which are mostly fruit eaters, ground hornbills are predators. They stalk the African savanna, snatching up anything from insects to reptiles. And if their size and beak weren't intimidating enough, their deep, booming calls sound like something from a prehistoric jungle. Today, we're diving deep into the world of these fascinating birds, where they fit into the family tree, and what makes them so different from their hornbill relatives. Check the description for a document with references for the images and research papers I used if you are interested. To understand where ground hornbills fit in, let's take a quick tour through their larger clade, the Afroaves. This is a large group that includes some unexpected relatives. The most basal lineage in this clade has two orders, the owls and strigiforms, and the hawks, eagles, and vultures in accipitriforms. Since this is the earliest lineage of Afroaves, it is likely that the ancestors of this group were predators, meaning hornbills could have descended from sharp-clawed hunters rather than fruit-eating birds. The next lineage is the mousebirds in the order Coliformes. This is a distinctive group with crests and small stubby beaks. These tiny acrobatic birds are even able to feed when hanging upside down. Their common name comes from their habit of scurrying through the leaves. As frugivores, they have shifted away from their predatory ancestors. Then we come to the order Leptosomniformes with the cuckoo roller. This oddball used to be grouped with other birds, but genetic studies now show it deserves its own branch. It is the only living species in its order. The trogons and trogoniforms are some of the most exotic-looking birds in the Afroaves. With their very long tails and vibrant colours, they are common throughout much of South America. The next lineage is the focus of today's video. This is the Bucerotiformes, which contains not only the hornbills, but also the hoopoes. Since the most distinctive feature of hornbills is their large beaks, it is a little surprising that they are most closely related to the slender-billed hoopoes. The next order in Afroaves is the Carassiiformes, with the bee-eaters, rollers, kingfishers, and other related groups. These are colourful birds, most known for their diets with insectivorous or piscivorous birds. This order used to be a lot larger, with not only the cuckoo roller, but also the hornbills and hoopoes included in here, based primarily on the structure of their feet. As we have already seen, this has since been rectified, with these other groups separated out and moved into their own orders. The final order is Pecciformes, containing the toucans and woodpeckers. Toucans actually look like they would be close relatives of the hornbills, but their enlarged beaks evolved independently to take advantage of a similar lifestyle. Now that we know where hornbills fit in the bird family tree, let's zoom in on their group, the order Bucerotiformes. This order has four main families, and while they're all related, they couldn't be more different in their looks and behaviour. The hoopoes in the family Eupapidae are instantly recognizable with their fancy crests, pinkish-brown feathers, and bold black and white wing stripes. There are 3 species found throughout Eurasia and Africa. The wood hoopoes and scimitarbills in Phoeniculidae are only found in sub-Saharan Africa. The 8 species in this family have long, curved beaks and iridescent feathers that give them a sleek, almost metallic look. The remaining 2 families are what I have collectively been calling the hornbills. The true hornbills are technically only those in Bucerotidae. They are found in Africa and Asia and are known for their massive, often colourful beaks, and some even have a helmet-like casque on top. But today, we're here to talk about the 4th and possibly most unusual of these families, Bucorvidae, better known as the ground hornbills. At first, these birds were classified as part of the true hornbill family, but scientists later separated them out into their own group. Why? Because ground hornbills are so different that lumping them in with the others just didn't make sense. While most hornbills evolved in Asia before spreading to Africa, ground hornbills appear to have been one of the earliest African lineages, splitting off before the rest of the group diversified. Ground hornbills are incredibly unique birds, and there are only 2 living species in the world today. Both belong to the same genus, Bucorvis. Fossil evidence suggests that ground hornbills once had a much larger range. An extinct species, Bucorvis brailloni, lived in what is now Morocco during the Miocene epoch. Since only a single fossilized femur has been found, we don't know much about it, but its presence in North Africa suggests that ground hornbills once ranged much further north, perhaps before climate changes or the Quaternary glaciation forced them into their current habitats. With only 2 species left, we can take a deep dive into their lifestyle, behaviours, and what makes them so different from other hornbills. Ground hornbills stand apart from their tree-dwelling relatives in several major ways. Firstly, they are much larger, towering over their relatives. True hornbills tend to be slimmer and more arboreal, while ground hornbills, as their name suggests, are built for life on the ground. Despite this, ground hornbills can still fly, they just don't much of the time. While most hornbills are frugivores, ground hornbills are primarily carnivorous, although they will occasionally eat fruit or seeds. They hunt insects, reptiles, and even small mammals. Some other hornbills, like those in the genus Tocus, eat meat in addition to fruit, but they're more balanced in their diet, whereas ground hornbills are much more predatory. Aside from their physical characteristics, ground hornbills also show different behaviours to the true hornbills. Ground hornbills are highly social, living in tight-knit family groups. They even have cooperative breeding, meaning multiple birds help raise the chicks. True hornbills, on the other hand, are mostly solitary, only coming together in pairs during the breeding season. Their nesting behaviour is also markedly different. Both nest in tree cavities, but here's where things get really different. True hornbills seal their nests with a wall made of mud, droppings, and fruit pulp, leaving only a tiny slit for the male to pass food to the female and the chicks. Ground hornbills don't do this. They leave their nest entrances wide open, no mud walls and no tiny gaps. Even from this quick comparison, it's obvious that ground hornbills are a world apart from their tree-loving relatives. Now, let's take an even closer look at the 2 species of ground hornbill and what makes each one so special. Let's start with the Abyssinian ground hornbill, Bucorvis abyssinicus, also called the northern ground hornbill. It's the smaller of the 2 ground hornbill species, but don't be fooled, it is still massive. These birds can grow up to 1.1 meters or 43 inches long. Interestingly, while Abyssinian ground hornbills tend to be taller on average, the southern ground hornbill can reach a greater maximum size, making it the overall larger species. At first glance, the Abyssinian ground hornbill looks strikingly dark, with black feathers and a large black bill, but their bare facial skin tells a different story. Males have dark blue skin around their eyes and throat, with inflatable red wattles. Females lack the red wattles and have all blue skin instead. Both sexes have a short black casque, the helmet-like structure on their beak, which is open at the end. This distinct colour pattern sets them apart from their southern cousins, which have different facial markings. Abyssinian ground hornbills are found across northern sub-Saharan Africa, ranging from Mauritania, Senegal and Guinea, all the way to Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya and Uganda in the east. They prefer open landscapes like savannas, subdesert scrub and rocky areas, especially those with short vegetation, which helps them spot prey more easily. Unlike their southern relatives, Abyssinian ground hornbills are adapted to drier environments and can tolerate some human activity, but they still need large trees for nesting. There have even been reported sightings in Florida, though these are likely escaped or released birds, not part of a wild breeding population. Abyssinian ground hornbills are primarily carnivorous and hunt visually. Their diet includes tortoises, lizards, snakes, birds, spiders, beetles and caterpillars. They are not restricted to being carnivorous, however, as they will also eat a small amount of fruit, seeds and nuts, as well as scavenging for carrion. One of the most interesting things about Abyssinian ground hornbills is their cooperative hunting strategy. They move in a coordinated line, flushing prey out of hiding as they advance. When one spots food, they communicate using calls and visual signals. For example, when they lower their head and spread their wings, they are saying, "Get ready to pounce." Or when they tap their bill on the ground, they're saying, "Look over here." Each bird plays a specialized role. Some flush out prey, while others are ready to strike when something runs. This not only makes them efficient hunters, but also allows younger birds to learn from experienced adults, an intelligent behavior usually seen in animals like crows and primates. Abyssinian ground hornbills live in small family groups, usually made up of a breeding pair and their offspring, along with helpers, older siblings who haven't left the group yet. These helpers assist in raising new chicks, a rare behavior among birds. Their breeding season varies depending on their location, with western hornbills breeding from June to August, while those on the eastern side of Africa breeding in November to January. They nest in large trees, preferring baobabs and palms, though some use caves or even man-made structures. The male prepares the nest, lining it with dried leaves before the female lays 1 or 2 eggs over a 5-day period. Here's where things get brutal. Because the mother starts incubating immediately after laying the first egg, the older chick hatches several days before the second one. This gives it a huge head start in growth. In almost all cases, the second chick doesn't survive, as the older one gets all the food, causing the younger sibling to starve within the first few days. The chick stays in the nest for 80 to 90 days before fledging. Young birds remain with their parents for up to 3 years. They only breed once every 3 years, and on average, only one chick in 9 years makes it to adulthood, making their reproductive rate extremely slow. This long investment means that they are long-lived birds, reaching 35 to 40 years in captivity, though likely less in the wild. Abyssinian ground hornbills were previously classified as least concern, but in 2018, their status was changed to vulnerable by the IUCN. This change isn't based on exact population counts, but rather habitat loss and degradation, which threatens their nesting sites. While they can tolerate some human disturbance, they still need large, undisturbed trees to breed successfully. Throughout their range, Abyssinian ground hornbills hold cultural importance. For example, in some regions, hunters believe that wearing the severed head of an Abyssinian ground hornbill makes them better at stalking prey. While this practice is not widespread, it reflects the deep-rooted connection between local people and these incredible birds. Abyssinian ground hornbills are fascinating birds, combining teamwork, intelligence, and specialized hunting strategies, unlike any other hornbill species. But they also face growing threats from habitat loss. Given their slow reproduction rate, even small declines in their numbers could have serious consequences. Now that we've learned about the Abyssinian ground hornbill, let's turn our attention to its slightly larger and more famous cousin, the southern ground hornbill, Bucorvus leadbeteri. These striking birds are found further south than their northern relatives, ranging from Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania in the north, down through Zambia, Angola, Namibia, and Botswana, and into South Africa. Southern ground hornbills are imposing birds, instantly recognizable by their bare facial skin and massive beak. Males have bright red skin around their throat, face, and wattle. Females have mostly blue skin with red accents around the eyes and throat edges. Their body is entirely black, but their white flight feathers become strikingly visible when they take off. They are the largest of all hornbills, standing up to 1.2 meters or 4 feet tall, and weighing up to 6 kilograms or 13 pounds. Southern ground hornbills are opportunistic omnivores, but their diet is heavily meat-based. They primarily feed on small animals, like reptiles, frogs, snails, insects, birds, and mammals. In addition to this, they will very occasionally eat fruit and seeds or scavenged carrion. They are highly efficient hunters, using cooperative foraging in small groups of 2 to 6 individuals. Each bird plays a specific role in the hunt. Some probe the ground and underbrush with their powerful beaks. Others stand still, watching for movement. If prey is spotted, they will chase it down with their strong legs. Larger prey is pinned with their feet before being killed with a precise strike of the beak. Unlike their northern cousins, who flush prey out in lines, southern ground hornbills rely on stealth, patience, and teamwork to catch their meals. Southern ground hornbills are extremely territorial, and they defend their massive home ranges as a group. Their territories can be up to 2,000 hectares or 5,000 acres, about the size of 2,500 soccer fields. To warn other hornbills to stay away, they use their signature deep, booming call, which can travel up to 3 kilometers or 2 miles across the savanna. Like their Abyssinian relatives, southern ground hornbills live in family groups consisting of a dominant breeding pair and several non-breeding helpers. Interestingly, studies show that a pair cannot successfully raise chicks unless they've spent at least 6 years as helpers first. This suggests that helping older birds raise chicks is critical for learning how to be a good parent. Young birds reach sexual maturity around 6 years old, but almost never breed immediately. Instead, they spend years as helpers before forming their own pair. Southern ground hornbills have one of the slowest reproductive rates of any bird. They nest in large tree hollows, but will sometimes use rock crevices. Nests must be deep and well protected to keep chicks safe from predators. 1 to 3 eggs are laid, but usually only one chick survives. The older chick dominates its younger sibling, often leading to starvation or direct killing. Incubation lasts 40 to 45 days, and the surviving chick fledges after 85 days. The young remain dependent on the group for up to 2 years, the longest known dependency of any bird species. Because of this slow reproduction, breeding pairs can only raise a chick every 3 years. Given the slow rate of breeding and its long time to reach maturity, it is unsurprising that southern ground hornbills are long-lived. In captivity, they can get up to 70 years old. This is almost certainly lower in the wild, but is still probably older than 30. The imposing presence, loud calls, and hunting prowess of southern ground hornbills have made them deeply symbolic in many African cultures. In many traditions, they are associated with death, spirits, and bad omens. Some believe they carry the spirits of the dead, while others fear them as messengers of misfortune. In Tanzania, some groups believe them to be the hosts of angry spirits. Whatever the exact belief, these associations can lead to people either killing them or avoiding them entirely. Depending on the belief, it is thought killing them may bring fatal illness or disaster. Some cultures also believe they are the messengers of witch doctors, further disincentivizing interfering with them. In some instances, the hornbills are also able to rid someone of bad spirits or take revenge on others. Despite their airy reputation, they are also believed to have power over the weather. Their morning calls are believed to predict the rain, and they can protect against drought and lightning. In some places, they are used to keep track of both time of day and the seasons. In Malawi, for example, sighting ground hornbills means that it is time to prepare the fields, while some in Tanzania and Kenya take the appearance of the bird to indicate the dry season and thus the time to move their cattle. While this association with the weather does not give them the same bad press as their relationship to death, they are sometimes killed for it, to try and start or end the rainy season. Ironically, when hornbills predict the weather incorrectly, some blame climate change for confusing them. Their keen eyesight and hunting skills have led to myths about their ability to alter perception. Some believe that they can create illusions or make dreams real, while others use rituals involving hornbills that will help people find food, enemies, or hidden truths. In some regions, they play a role in rituals bestowing leadership and authority, given the importance of finding food in hunter-gatherer societies. Southern ground hornbills are currently classified as vulnerable by the IUCN, but in South Africa they are listed as endangered. As an extremely slow reproducing species, they are highly susceptible to disturbances. With only one chick every 3 years, it would take decades for their population to recover from losses. So why are their numbers declining? There are many reasons for this, but habitat loss is a big one. This can be from grasslands being converted into farmland, or from fires or other disasters. While they are tolerant to some habitat disturbance, they require large trees for nesting sites, so the removal of these trees is devastating for them. Human persecution is another massive issue. Southern ground hornbills can be killed due to cultural beliefs, many of which we have already discussed, but it can also be to prevent property destruction, as the hornbills are known to attack their own reflection viciously, resulting in many broken windows. Aside from these, other pressures on them include poisoning, where they eat bait intended for other species, or climate change, as they struggle to survive in temperatures over 26 degrees Celsius or 79 Fahrenheit. Some even die from stepping on landmines in areas with human conflict. Given these pressures, conservation efforts are crucial to ensure their survival. I hope you enjoyed this video. Ground hornbills are not just powerful predators, they are also deeply intelligent, highly social, and culturally significant birds. But with shrinking habitats and slow reproduction rates, they face a difficult future. Protecting these iconic birds will require preserving their habitats, reducing human-wildlife conflicts, and educating communities about their ecological importance. Thank you for listening, and feel free to suggest another group of animals you want to see me cover in the comments.